Now, I watch a lot of MSNBC hee-haws that you don't have to, even as their poll numbers, ratings have gone down. I mean, Rachel Maddow, after she went on and on and on about the Russia collusion, the Mueller report comes out, no obstruction, no collusion. She lost 500,000 people in one day. Now think about that. These are left-wing people who've been listening to her rag on Donald Trump, because they assumed what she was saying was true. That Donald Trump had engaged in collusion with Russia and engaged in obstruction of justice when people were investigating it. And then the report comes out, doesn't find it. She lost 500,000 people. Now think about that. Why would you lose 500,000 people who are left-wing? Because the reason that they hated Donald Trump is because they believed what she was saying. Similarly, the hosts on CNN, whether it's Joe Scarborough or Joy Reid, have lost a lot of their listeners. Their poll numbers are among the worst of their career. Why? Because for the last 4 years, they've been ragging on Donald Trump, calling him a fascist, calling him a Nazi, saying that he was a threat to our republic, and the voters rejected it. So a lot of people listening to this were saying, you know what? If America is not buying what you're selling, why am I buying what you're selling? If Americans don't think he's a fascist and he won all 7 swing states, maybe I need to check myself. Maybe I need to rethink what I have been feeling about Donald Trump. And a lot of people are doing that. I'm telling you, you can sense the tone. You can see even on the front page of the LA Times. There was recently an article about the number of Hispanics in a city called Downey that voted for Donald Trump. I can see the shot selection in some of the newspapers now. Things are changing. And that press conference that he had at Mar-a-Lago a little while ago, where he spoke for over an hour, took 33 questions, reporters weren't attacking the way they normally did. They were respectful questions. They wanted to know what he's thinking. What are you gonna do? It was remarkable. Now, there is a Trump hater, and she still remains a Trump hater on MSNBC, named Joy Reid. Listen to her analysis of Daniel Penny and why he was acquitted. And this is her mindset, and this is the kind of poison she puts out all the time. Number 8.
Now, murder is always wrong, full stop, and never the answer. But the reality is, there are some people in Trump's own base who are hailing Mangione. And notably, Trump's admonitions come days after he hosted Daniel Penny in his private box at the Army-Navy game in Maryland and posed for smiley thumbs-up pictures with him, as did his crew, Vivek Ramaswamy and J.D. Vance. Penny is the man who held a homeless black man on a New York City subway train in a chokehold that prosecutors said lasted almost 6 minutes. He was acquitted last week of criminally negligent homicide in that man, Jordan Neely's death, after the jury deadlocked on second-degree murder, and that charge was dropped. That killing, the killing of a poor black man suffering from schizophrenia and yelling that he was hungry, thirsty, and fed up, gets you a hero's welcome from the once and future president of the United States, with members of his Republican Party even calling for Penny to receive the Congressional Gold Medal, whose prior recipients include the very first recipient, George Washington, from the Continental Congress, the Rosie the Riveters from World War II, tennis legend Billie Jean King, and 14-year-old lynching victim Emmett Till, posthumously. Of course, this is a feature of the strange, and cynical logic of MAGA world, where some killings are acceptable and others are not. You're seeing it on podcasts and with conservative media talkers, many of whom are funded by billionaires, by the way. Their message? Revere the rich and celebrate the man who chokes out the poor.
What can you say about that? That is just demented. That is just demented. Who do you know on our side is celebrating the death of that healthcare CEO? Who do you know? And notice how she leaves out the other things that Jordan Neely said. Someone's going to die. I don't care if I spend the rest of my life in Rikers Island. Why would you leave that out? Oh, wait a minute. These are the same people who leave out that Donald Trump said, I want you to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard. Oh, wait a minute. These are the same people who leave out that Donald Trump, after Charlottesville, said, and I'm not talking about the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis because they should be condemned totally, end of quote. Same people who leave out the fact that the so-called handicapped reporter that Donald Trump allegedly mocked never said Donald Trump mocked me. Other people said it, but he never said it. What Joy Reid said is just demented. And think about the kind of mindset you have to view the world that way. Daniel Penny was a hero, is a hero. People on that bus, on that subway, many of whom happen to be black, were scared to death, and many people said they were scared to death. And one of those who assisted Daniel Penny was Hispanic. And there were 4, quote, people of color, close quote, on the jury that found him not guilty. And the person that brought the charges against him, Alvin Bragg, was black. So how does that somehow get twisted into there was some sort of vendetta against Jordan Neely because he was black? Things would have been completely different if Jordan Neely had been a white person. Really? And as I mentioned, on the day that Daniel Penny pled not guilty to manslaughter charges, a grand jury determined not to recommend charges against another black man who stabbed another black man who was threatening him and his girlfriend on a subway in New York. Grand jury found that the man who was threatened, who pulled out a knife and stabbed the man who was doing the threatening, did so out of self-defense. I don't know. I wasn't listening to Joy Reid that night, but did Joy Reid say anything about that black man who also had mental problems, who was killed by a black man? Or is she only focusing on the black man with mental problems who was killed by a white man? That's called racism. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.